Hi everybody, it's Boggs here for the Obscure Toy Files, and today we're taking a look at the San Diego Comic-Con 2022 NECA Toys exclusive. Shows right there, boom. Dungeons & Dragons, The Lost Wave. Now, normally on this channel we don't review licensed things, and since Dungeons & Dragons wasn't created by NECA, it was licensed to them, normally this would not be something we would cover. However, the purpose of the Lost Waves box set is a 4-figure set, and they were done to directly pay homage and mimic the original LJN Toys toy line that was called Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. They had a line of figures that were action figures with battlematic action. It was called Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And then they had made a line of bendy figures and solid PVC figures that don't bend, and they called that line Dungeons & Dragons. But it was all made by LJN, and it all tied into everything. And this wave is interesting because at the end of the line in like 85 or so, they were supposed to have a number of figures come out, but it never got made. They had at least 4 or so. 3 we've seen pictures of. Valkyr, who was in this set. Pulverize, who is this big deluxe orc chieftain. And then Battlematic Kellic, which was basically the Sorcerer Kellic that was released in the original assortment. But they redid his sculpt and he had battlematic action. They also included Skyla, I believe is the other one's name. She's a female wizard, and she exists in the original line, but only as a PVC miniature that they sold in a line of PVC miniatures that also tied into their Advanced Dungeons & Dragons toy line. So LJN really made a lot of stuff for the brand back in the 80s. The reason why we're covering it today here on Obscure Toy Files is because it's an obscure wave. Not a lot of people know about it, and it's really cool that they actually went back and did it. I was watching a Pixel Dan video from San Diego Comic-Con where he was interviewing Randy, the guy who runs the stuff over at NECA, and he was talking about how he went to the effort to actually send original figures to the factory in China so they could accurately duplicate the old LJN style toys. So I'm very curious to see if they hold up exactly how the original ones were. I have a Kellic here, original Kellic. I'll bring him out in a second. But I'm really curious to see how these are going to be. They went up for pre-order in May of 2022. Oh no, June 2022. And it was $100 for a set of 4. And I said, you know what, that's not that bad. Like 20, 25 bucks a piece, that's not too bad, you know, given today's market and stuff like that. So the chance to get brand new LJN style Advanced Dungeons & Dragons figures, but just, you know, different unreleased characters, it's like, shut up and take my money. You know, that seems like a really good idea. So we picked up the set. It came in the mail yesterday, which is August 19th, for those of you who are keeping track. And the box itself just comes in the shipper box. It just says the Dungeons & Dragons logo all over it. It mentions the Lost Wave. It says NECA on the top, but you can't see because of my camera's angles. And then it has a little stuff on the bottom, things like that. And that's basically it. The box isn't really, it's mostly to house the figures inside. But from what I've seen from pictures, these things look pretty cool. So we're going to break the little seal there, cut that thing open, and we're going to pull these suckers out. But be mindful that one of the card backs is like sticking right there, so if you're going to open this, you don't want to nick anything. Yeah, wow, that's pretty good. So these look pretty much, wow. The first one we pull out is Kellic. How's that? That's pretty cool. Wow, look how good that looks. Let's see, new battlematic action, secret lever makes arms move. Kellic Evil Sorcerer. As a class, the Sorcerer is capable of casting powerful magic spells to further his cruel ways. While Sorcerers cannot use weapons other than daggers, darts, or staves, they have many spells that they employ to win the day for them. Evil Sorcerers are constantly fighting the forces of law and order for dominance in the lands where they live. So this Kellic is different because he has a different sculpt underneath the robe. The staff appears to be similar, but I have the staff so we can compare it. I don't have the dagger though. So I'm curious to see exactly how he differs, but the sculpt they gave him was different. And he has the cool artwork from the original card back. Like, this is just really cool flashback Dungeons & Dragons stuff, so it's really neat. I'll pull these out, and I'll read them each one when I get more time. I gotta keep moving things around. This is the only good guy in the set. There's a good way to get a quick look at the back of the package. It's done up just like the original LJN one. Like, they pretty much like duplicated it identically. And the cards feel pretty sturdy too, like they're not like thin, wimpy cards. There's Valkyr, the good warrior. There we go. Who's next? We have, ooh, Pulverize, the Orchid chief. Because this was the thing that was interesting with the liners. They did different scales. So they made like elves and dwarves that were small. Then so he's like a large sized character compared to like, you know, when you look at him like this, they're like, and even on his card back, you see him fighting I forget who that is, but he's a character from like one of the Series 2 lines. So he was made. So because these guys were supposed to come out and they just never did because the line just ended. There was a lot of, I think, stuff going on around Dungeons and Dragons about it being satanic, but there's nothing to do with it. Dungeons and Dragons has nothing to do with like devils and worship and stuff like that. It's just a role-playing game. So I don't understand what all the insanity was about, because there really wasn't anything to scream about, as our set totally explodes. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And lastly, we have Skyla, the evil wizard. Now, she's unique because she didn't exist in action figure form. And I think Randy from NECA said he couldn't even find any pictures of her. So they kind of just had to like go from scratch, maybe? I don't really remember. I remember she did, like I said, she existed as a miniature in their miniatures line. And her artwork was the same on the miniatures card back, along with this little bio, which I might as well read since I have it right here. Skyla, evil wizard. While wizards are powerful indeed, any magic user must be given special consideration, especially Skyla. In a world where many hands are turned against her, she has risen in a field that is difficult indeed. Able to cast magical spells of awesome power, she will go to great lengths to win her battles. Often this type of person can be counted on to use magic devices of great power. Glowing rings and amulets are constantly found in the possession of such a person. So this is her first time getting released as an action figure in any form, which is really cool. She seems to come with she comes with a wand, a dagger, a smaller, wider dagger, magic staff of some kind, which you can see her holding in this artwork. Let me turn off the flash. Boop. Oh, it didn't help. It made everything worse. Flash back on, we can't see. There we go. Yeah, so it comes with like a little raven, it looks like. They give her a cloth outfit with a belt. So I'm curious to see what she's going to look like, because she's never existed as a figure before. So that's new. Okay. So we'll put them over here. Now, like I said, they're basically the same exact packaging as the original line from LJN. The only difference is that it says Dungeons and Dragons along the top. It does not say Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if it was a licensing issue or they just didn't want to focus on that. They did, duplicate the LJN logo, but you did it with NECA, so that's pretty cool. And the card stock on this is like this is like, if you can even see, this is some decent. This is not modern flimsy card stock. This stuff is here to, not fuck around. Lack of a better term. Let's look at Pulverize bio. He's a shield shooter, which is a line of things that started coming out towards the end. Some rare ones known as like Metaflame and I think Northlord. Basically, they designed them to not only have battlematic action, but their left arm has can lock and load their shield. So he puts this spider shield on his end of his hand, and you push this button, and it's supposed to launch out that spider. I don't know if they duplicated the effect with this. We will find out. I don't know. I've never actually seen it used. I've just seen pictures of it. So this is like news. This is like we're going on this journey together. This is something new. Let's see. Pulverize, Orchid chief. Pulverize is the fierce leader of all the orcs. He revels in warfare, always seeks new territory for his race. Pulverize orders his people to raise and destroy elvish homelands whenever possible. Magic cast by elves can't hurt him. He has one central eye that never blinks. He uses powerful enchanted weapons whenever he enters battle. So he was going to get made. He never did. I think Marty the God Beast Hansen had a chance to get a hold of some of his original accessories and did some castings of them a number of years ago. So it's definitely cool to see like a real version of this versus like, like the other copies. I don't know. Now I know Randy from NECA mentioned to Pixel Dan that they were trying to source as many of the original prototypes as they could. So I don't know how many original prototypes they actually got. I forget what he had said. I know they didn't get the original prototype for Battlematic Kellic, so they had to resculpt him. But they might have gotten his weapons or something like that. I don't remember. All right, so let's look at Valkyr, who's the guy who's severely outnumbered in this situation. He is a good warrior. I always thought he was supposed to be a barbarian. He does show up in some of the Toy Fair catalogs and stuff, along with like a different fortress that was going to come out, like a different playset, but He didn't get the cut. I don't know if he was close to getting made or what, but I don't know. Let's see what his bio says. Valkyria, good warrior. This is not the barbarian of history, but the barbarian of fantasy fiction. He's a powerful warrior from a culture on the fringes of civilization. He's left his home to sell his skills and adventure in a civilized world, perhaps to amass a fortune with which to return home, perhaps to become an important figure in this so-called civilization. He's known for strength, cunning, contempt for the outer world's decadence, and for adhering to his own code of honor. So it's really cool that we're getting him again, because I think he says he's a barbarian. No, it just says good warrior. Usually they list their class, so I don't know why they chose that. Well, technically, like Kellick's an evil sorcerer, and Skyla's an evil wizard. Also of note, Skyla does not feature battlematic action like the other ones do. I think that's because she was supposed to not have it, so they just kind of stuck to the original thing and didn't let her have it either. So this is all of them, of which there's not enough room to put them all on the display. Valkyrie has been defeated already, and he's laying down on the ground. So let me pull out my Kellick figure so I can show you guys what he looks like. At least the original one. I also have the fire elemental I brought with me. Now, I don't have his dagger like I mentioned, but I have his staff. Like his magic power staff thing. And if you look at the difference, like this was actually cast in green plastic, whereas this one appears to have been, it looks like it was made in other plastic and it was painted. So it's very similar. You can kind of see the sculpts are similar enough.